My name is H.A. Goodman. I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Please go ahead and the link is below to my appearance on Hard Bastard. Speaking to HB, it was a fantastic discussion. We talked about a whole bunch of topics. Check that out. Check out my latest article in the Daily Caller, Free Julian Assange. That is below in the pinned comment. I'll be coming out with a new YouTube channel on my appreciation and love for the Second Amendment. You will love the channel. And this is just breaking news. Mueller team urges federal judge to reject requests for hearing on leaks. This is really interesting because the Mueller probe, the Steele dossier, the Trump-Russia nonsense relied on the help of the media. The media was complicit in fomenting the belief that Trump worked with Russia without any evidence. The Mueller probe without the media is an investigation into nothing, conducted because of memos that were leaked illegally. It's very important to realize that this is not whistleblowing. So number one, what Mueller is doing, or what Comey did, or what BuzzFeed did, or what Christopher Steele did, it's not whistleblowing, it's not Julian Assange, it's not WikiLeaks, it's not exposing truth or speaking truth to power. It's not publishing information that the United States, the world should know, that citizens should know. It's not going ahead and exposing corruption. What it is simply a political ploy. It's propaganda. It's actually purchased by Hillary Clinton with money funneled through her law firm, which is an egregious campaign finance violation of millions, including the $80 million that was funneled through the DNC into her campaign. You talk about campaign violations. Then you talk about the conflicts of interest with Trump, and people didn't have at all a problem with the Clinton Foundation that was actually committing crimes. People knew, the government knew, the Loretta Lynch's Justice Department knew, Obama's DOJ knew that Trump had businesses around the world. If it was really an issue, you simply could have said no. The emoluments clause in the Constitution, it doesn't allow this guy. This guy can't become president because of the emoluments clause, you can't have him as president. He has too many business interests. So now they're bringing it up. It's yet another. What they're doing is they're making Trump into like this Teflon politician, because they're leveling baseless accusation after baseless accusation. He worked with Russia. No, he didn't. He engaged in campaign finance violations with Stormy Daniels. No, he didn't. Oh my God, the Chinese government is giving his company money. Yeah, okay. And how did that influence any of his decisions? We already know that the money flowed into the Clinton Foundation, and then there was the uranium deal. 85 donors gave $156 million to the Clinton Foundation, and she met with them. 20 of those donors gave over $1 million. The UBS gave money. They were helped out with the IRS. Boeing gave money. They got a Russian airline deal. Chicago Commodities Trader gave money into the Clinton Foundation. He went ahead and he was on a nuclear advisory board. Now, what they're doing, this is incredible. Mueller's team urges federal judge to reject request for hearing on leaks. So they're going to find out who is basically speaking to the media and trying to foment all of this. These leaks are not, you're not talking about whistleblowers. You're talking about political operatives stuck within the Department of Justice, within the FBI, within the Trump administration, who leak information specifically to get a political, just like when Comey, the biggest leaker of all, talk about a queasy, leaky stomach. He's queasy, he's leaky, he's nasty. He's just giant, queasy, leaky, slimy reptile named James Comey. Special counsel Robert Mueller is reportedly pressing a federal judge to turn down a request from former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort to hold a hearing about leaks surrounding the investigation into Russia's 2016 election meddling. That should... Manafort already won a case. He didn't run the case. He won a battle in court because the judge is basically saying, you know what, you don't want Manafort. You just want to get Trump. You don't care about Manafort. You care about hurting Trump. That's all you care about. And it's obvious. There's like, it's obvious. So, quote, many of the matters reported, if accurate, would have been known to the defense, to witnesses who were interviewed or subpoenaed for documents, or to other investigators examining overlapping issues, prosecutors wrote. The cited articles, in short, do not establish any factual basis for the inquiry that Manafort asked the court judge to undertake. Oh, yes, they do. The Steele dossier relied on two Mother Jones journalists, Ann Clapper and Jake Tapper, and there were, suddenly you have all of these, oh my God, he said somebody was a shithole. You have all these leaks coming out from the Trump administration. The prosecutors know that the leaks could have originated from members of Congress or their aides. Great, we should know who they are. They also made the case that if such a hearing were permitted, it would be fair to try to determine if any of the leaks came from Manafort's defense or a spokesperson. Go ahead and try that. That's also funny. Manafort is currently facing multiple charges, including tax evasion, bank fraud, and money laundering, brought by Mueller, and all of this is years before 2016. It has nothing to do with Trump-Russia, or which is a non-existent. Nothing to do with Russian hackers. Nothing to do with internet trolls that didn't influence the election. They have zero evidence. If you are on YouTube or if you are in the mainstream and you're perpetuating this myth, you're a conspiracy theorist. Just call yourself a conspiracy theorist. That's it. So as Mueller's investigation enters its second year, the special counsel's team reportedly wants to question President Trump, but the White House has been hesitant to agree to an interview. Obviously, they shouldn't agree to an interview because there's no crime that's said to have been committed. And then there are two things that Trump should tweet out. One is just simply Peter Strzok's text. We can't take the risk of Trump becoming president. If I were Trump, I would go ahead and I would tweet that out every single day, until I fire Mueller. I would tweet out, we can't take the risk of Trump becoming president. We have to engage in an insurance policy. And the insurance policy is obviously Trump-Russia. The special counsel's investigation and the raid are reportedly on Trump's mind quite often. Well, yeah, okay. The Washington Post reported on Monday that Trump vents to associates about the raid as often as 20 times a day. Again, this is stupid. The Washington Post reported. How many anonymous sources? I think it's like 20 anonymous sources. Let's see. Officials said, officials calling, anonymous. On the condition of anonymity, this is all gossip. These aren't sources. Everyone speaks to the Washington Post under condition of anonymity. Isn't that interesting? So, Manafort now demands, he demands to find out who's leaking all this information. And Mueller doesn't want that to take place. He doesn't want anyone to find out. Mueller refutes Manafort's claim of grand jury leaks by government. Mueller office opposes hearings on leaks. He doesn't refute. Mueller never refutes anything. He just goes ahead and says, we're going to do this because we're powerful. Let's see what Bloomberg says. Special counsel Robert Mueller urged a federal judge to reject a request by Paul Manafort, the indicted former Trump campaign chairman, for a hearing to determine whether government officials improperly leaked secret grand jury information to the news media. Well, they did. It's like well established that the media is out to get Trump. We already know that, two Mother Jones journalists were integral to disseminating the Steele dossier. Then, of course, you had BuzzFeed with the Steele dossier. I'll put that below in the description section. And you had all this information about Manafort. All right, hold on a second. Manafort had asked the judge to identify and punish government officials who allegedly disclosed secret information that appeared in reports by Associated Press, the New York Times, CNN, NBC News, and BuzzFeed. Well, okay, that's perfectly fair. Why shouldn't that be the case? You're on trial for a crime that you allegedly committed years before the mission statement of a probe And you're on trial for a crime that is you've allegedly committed for. And Mueller, and let's say it's Mueller's team. Mueller's team is only there for Trump Russia. And if they're going after Manafort, they have to link Manafort to Trump Russia in some way. They have to link Manafort to DNC getting hacked by Russian hackers in some way. They've yet to do that. That's why the judge sided with Mueller's team and said, you don't care what Mueller did. Loretta Lynch's DOJ didn't go after Mueller. Why are you going after Mueller now? Oh, well, this is linked to Trump Russia. How so? You can't just have Rosenstein write yet another memo. Oh, there's another memo saying he has overarching powers. Signed, Rosenstein. Number 2 at the DOJ, since Jeff Sessions is busy recusing himself 20 times a day. Manafort had asked the judge to identify and punish government officials who allegedly disclosed secret information that appeared in reports by the Associated Press, the New York Times, CNN, NBC News, and BuzzFeed. Mueller, who is investigating Russian meddling in the 2016 election, called Manafort's claims speculative. Not false, but speculative, and said Manafort had failed to meet the standard for a hearing. So, yeah, sure there are government leaks, but the standard is so high. A pretrial hearing on alleged government leaks, which would itself generate publicity on the very matters that Manafort finds prejudicial is unwarranted. This is such, doublespeak here. This is unbelievable, the doublespeak. Well, you can't have Manafort want to find out the leaks, because that would just highlight the leaks that he doesn't like. Risks putting allegedly prejudicial stories back on the front page. Yeah, but that's not necessarily the only issue here. The issue was that there was information that leaked to the press, and in this day and age, you are tried by the media before you're tried by a judge, and that affects the judge. And that helps the prosecution. Mueller's office opposes hearing on leaks. So I'll put that below. Of course Mueller's office opposes hearing on leaks. What they want is complete media collusion. I just named all the publications that basically indicted Manafort before he was indicted by Mueller. And it's just, a series of anonymously sourced news accounts about Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation don't amount to evidence of illegal grand jury leaks and could have come from defense attorneys or others outside the investigation, prosecutors said in a court filing. Yeah, that's why you have a hearing, to find out if it was actually from Manafort's side. And if that's also ridiculous, because if it's from Manafort's attorneys or his side, they're shooting themselves in the foot, which it's obviously they're not going to leak information damaging to their client. That's stupid. That's stupid. So, Manafort, who is facing a separate criminal case brought by Mueller in a federal court in Washington and Alexandria, Virginia, filed a motion late last month complaining that he was unfairly attacked in a flurry of news reports that appeared to be based on illegal leaks of grand jury secrets and classified information. So Mueller is trying to let's read the Manafort judge. Come on, man. Federal judge accuses Mueller's team of lying, trying to target Trump. Come on, man. This is Fox News. This is a couple weeks back. A federal judge on Friday harshly rebuked Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team during a hearing for ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort, suggesting they lied about the scope of the investigation, are seeking unfettered powers, and are more interested in bringing down the president. So it's obvious now what's going to happen is, And this is the Russian internet company also. This is very interesting. They're like, no, show us the evidence. What's going to eventually take place is Mueller is going to have to not just issue indictments, but prove that these people are within the scope of his investigation. You really don't care about Mr. Manafort, U.S. District Judge T.S. Eliot III told Mueller's team. You really care about what information Mr. Manafort can give you to lead you to Mr. Trump and an impeachment or whatever. The BuzzFeed case is very interesting. If I'm Manafort's team, I just go ahead and say, BuzzFeed is suing the DNC. They have no evidence of the Steele dossier. And if the Steele dossier had anything to do with Manafort, which they're going after Manafort for alleged crimes that took place years and years before 2016, like 04 and 07, I think, or 06. So there has to be some kind of link that Mueller proves between alleged crimes that took place over 10 years, or around a decade prior to the election. How do you justify that? How do you say that these alleged crimes are linked to Russia collusion without even accusing Trump of a specific crime? That's another issue I have with the ridiculous notion that Trump should go ahead and speak to Mueller. About what? He's not accused of a specific crime. Clinton emails, she transferred top secret intelligence, illegal activity. We know her servers were in her basement. We know she wiped them clean with bleach bit. We know that they shipped a laptop in the mail. UPS, FedEx, we don't know. Oh, apparently it was U.S. Postal Service. But, I mean, the issue with all of this is Mueller has to prove that Trump committed some kind of collusion with Russia. He has to prove with the internet company that is now fighting back that they influenced the election. He can't do that because they didn't. There is not a mountain, there is a mountain range. There is the Mount Everest of information before the election, just public record, talking about how almost every single prognosticator, aside from me, because I was saying, and Sticks, and perhaps some others, but I was saying that Clinton would lose in 2015. I bring it up all the time because people are like, hey, AJ is always wrong. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If I say that Clinton was going to get indicted, there was a cover-up. I didn't know Peter Strzok had an affair with Lisa Page. I didn't know these things. How am I supposed to know these things? How am I supposed to know that he texted about an insurance policy in Andrew McCabe's office? How am I supposed to know these things? But the pulse of regarding that, or Bernie winning the DNC Democratic nomination, whatever, those things would have taken place were it not for cheating or overt cover-up. But I was saying that Clinton was going to lose in 2015. People called it clickbait. Now they would say clickbait if for Clinton running again. Which, let me tell you, she doesn't care about getting indicted, by the way. You know how I always say that Clinton will get indicted? And I leave it at that? I've been thinking about it, and I always leave it, I guess she'll get indicted. And then period. Like, that's it. No more. But now I was thinking, like, she doesn't care. Clinton does not care if she gets indicted. She will get indicted. And all the people who covered for her are no longer in government anymore, or they're facing their own legal issues. But once she gets indicted, she'll still run. And there will be a push. Look at Trump is just as corrupt, and they will convince themselves and lose again. So don't think that an indictment, which will take place before 2020, means that Clinton won't run again. Don't make that mistake. But a federal judge is basically saying that we know what you're doing, Mueller. You don't care about any of, you don't care about Trump, Russia, or, you don't care about any of this stuff other than trying to hurt Trump. He's telling this to Mueller's the prosecuting attorneys. He summed up the argument of the special counsel office as, quote, "We said this is what the investigation was about, but we're not going to be bound by it, and we weren't really telling the truth in that May 17th letter." He referenced the common exclamation from NFL announcers saying, "Come on, man." That's right. Is it Anthony Carter that says that? Oh, Chris Carter. What am I thinking? Crazy. I'm like out of it today. Give me your thoughts below. It's interesting that Mueller's team is now afraid of the identity of leaks. Why? And this is getting really interesting the more you think about it. Can you imagine if Manafort's team, Paul Manafort, the guy who is, pretty much swimming upstream, pretty much, up the creek without a paddle, if he gets the judge to side with him regarding the nature of the case and possibly gets it thrown out, or let's say he doesn't get it thrown out, but he's like, I want to know. What would be even more amusing, which would probably lead to the case being thrown out, is finding these journalists who leaked information, not for whistleblowing purposes, only for malicious Trump-hating purposes, and finding out who they worked with, what government official gave them the information of a grand jury that was supposed to be about Russia collusion, that focused only on alleged crimes committed like a decade earlier. Oh, that would be so fantastic. So let's say it's like a Mother Jones journalist or a CNN. Sorry, the Mother Jones for Steele dossier. What was it? AP, CNN, all these other. Who did you work with in the government? And then now you subpoena that person, and now you question that person. Now then that person. So you have this is horrible for Mueller. If the judge allows. Because the leaks are another interesting, hilarious thing is that there's no question about the leaks. The leaks took place. There's no question about that. Okay, so nobody's questioning whether or not leaks took place. What they're saying is, leaks took place, but get over it. And it could have been Manafort's team. No, it wasn't. That's stupid. I'm not going to get over it. And I want to find out who was speaking to the government and trying to indict my client before the trial in the court of public opinion. Then you get into not only the journalist, but who the journalist worked with in the U.S. government. Then you get into that government official and his person within the organization or department that he was in or she was in. Then the party starts. Then it's a big old party. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere and subscribe to this YouTube channel right now. Thank you so much for listening.